The Club World Championship has wrapped up. The Emperor's Cup winner has been crowned. Ferre Reggers is set to play for Perugia. Italy have locked in the Champions League finals, and Plamen Konstantinov will continue leading Lokomotiv. All this and much more in the new edition of Volleyball News. I'd also like to remind you about my VK community, where you can watch matches from top leagues not only on replay, but also live. Join the community via the QR code on screen or through the link in the description. The Men's Champions League finals will be held in Italy for the next 3 years. During the final press conference of Italian Volleyball Federation President Giuseppe Manfredi, it was officially announced that Milan will host the Men's Champions League finals in 2026, 2027 and 2028. Cuban middle blocker Robertlandy Simón underwent surgery in Finland and will now miss several months due to a tendon injury. The surgery for the legendary Cuban was successful, and he has already returned under the supervision of club doctors, where he has started his rehab. Let's wish Robertlandy a speedy return to the court. We're also waiting to see Daniele Lavia back on the court. The Italian outside hitter went through another X-ray exam, which showed positive progress in his recovery. A follow-up examination is scheduled for the second half of January. The longest transfer saga of this season might finally be coming to an end. Ferre Reggers, who had already turned down several solid offers from different clubs in favor of staying with Milan, still couldn't resist when Perugia came calling with their project. And now, with a very high probability, the Belgian opposite will continue his career with the Devils. So it's only logical that Wassim Ben Tara has already been offered to a number of clubs, including teams from the Polish PlusLiga. What do you think? Which club could a player of this level end up at? Drop your predictions in the comments. Verona keeps strengthening their roster already during the current season. After signing Nedeljkovic, the club announced the transfer of Milan's libero Matteo Staforini. Plamen Konstantinov stays with Lokomotiv for 2 more seasons. Let me remind you that the Bulgarian specialist has been in charge of the Novosibirsk club since 2016, and it looks like this partnership story is far from over. There was no Champions League action this week, but we did have the Club World Championship. Once again, Brazil hosted the best clubs on the planet, and this time the volleyball celebration moved to the city of Belém. It's worth noting that for the first time in many years, a Polish club agreed to take part in the tournament. Usually, PlusLiga teams point to a tough schedule and high travel and accommodation costs. But Zawiercie, as a club just starting to write its modern history, decided not to miss out on this opportunity, and they absolutely made the right call. The Polish team ended up winning their group, dropping just 1 point to Volley Renata. And that single point turned out to be crucial for the Brazilians, because their compatriots from Praia managed to beat only Al Rayyan. Let me remind you that the Qatari club are the winners of the Asian Champions League, but back then they had Nimir, Keita and Urnaut on the roster. Obviously, without that star trio, they were no longer a serious threat. It's a real shame, because Sunbirds could have been in their place. Al Rayyan still managed to grab 1 win, beating the same Renata in the final group stage match. But for the Brazilians, that game didn't matter anymore, and they didn't put up much of a fight. Group B promised to be much hotter. The Libyan club Swili got completely torn apart by the top teams and simply had no chance. But the real surprise came in the battle between the favorites. Who could have imagined that the reigning champions, Sada Cruzeiro, wouldn't even make it out of the group? First, they were absolutely demolished by Japan's Blue Teon, and then Perugia took them down in straight sets. So the real war broke out between Sada's conquerors, as the Italians and the Japanese put on a true thriller that lasted over 2.5 hours. The 5th set ended 23-21 in favor of Perugia. Absolute madness. After the group stage, the semi-final matchups were set like this. Zawiercie faced Blue Teon, while Perugia were tested by Volley Renata. And jumping a bit ahead, all the medal matches ended in straight set wins. First, Blue Teon unexpectedly and very confidently handled Zawiercie, and then Perugia gave no chances to the only Brazilian team left in the playoffs. Final day gave us rematches of the most exciting group stage showdowns, now with medals on the line. In the bronze medal match, Volley Renata only put up resistance in the opening stretch, and after that, Zawiercie calmly took the remaining sets and secured the first Club World Championship medal for Polish clubs in 13 years. And in the final, Perugia claimed their 3rd title of this kind in 4 seasons. It could have been 4 out of 4, but last year the Italian club simply didn't take part. This time we didn't get the same crazy spectacle as in the group stage. Despite Bluteon's active attempts to at least steal the third set, they never managed to take a set off Perugia. Still, a fantastic achievement for the Japanese club. Two Perugia middle blockers made it into the tournament's dream team, Agustin Loser and Sebastian Solé. Tomohiro Yamamoto was named Best Libero. The best outside hitters were Miguel Lopez and Aaron Russell. Wassim Ben Tara took Best Opposite, while Best Setter and Tournament MVP went to Simón Gianelli. Now let's get back to the domestic leagues. In Russia, last week featured round 14 of the Superliga, as well as one match from round 15. The main focus was on Belogorod versus Dynamo Moscow and Zenit versus Lokomotiv. But unfortunately, those matchups didn't really live up to the hype. Dynamo Moscow handled the Belgorod team confidently on the road, while Zenit St. Petersburg gave no chances to the Novosibirsk Railwaymen at home. Vladislav Babkovic was especially impressive in that match. Fully returning after injury, the Belarusian giant scored 26 points. The real thriller came from teams at the bottom of the standings. Kuzbas were very close to snapping their losing streak and even led 14-12 in the fifth set, but they couldn't hold on. Fakkel pulled off their fourth straight win and are rapidly climbing up the table. You can see the results of all Russian League matches from last week on your screens. Zenit Kazan remain at the top of the standings, Dynamo Moscow move up to second place, and Zenit St. Petersburg push Belogorod out of the top 4. The very zone that allows teams to skip the first round of the playoffs. We move on to Italy, where the second half of the regular season is now fully underway. The weekend opened with a great matchup between Piacenza and Verona. A brilliant performance by numeri Keita, who dropped 31 points, helped Verona grab a 5-set road win and stay in the fight for the top spots. But apart from that match, we didn't really see any other big clashes in round 12. Trentino comfortably beat Padova away and took over the top spot in the standings. The results of all round 12 matches that wrapped up last week are already on your screens. As I said earlier, Trentino are now first and edge out Perugia on tiebreakers. The reigning Italian champions are clearly very serious about defending their title. In Poland, the first half of the season is coming to an end, after which all quarter-final matchups for the Polish Cup will be set. And while last season spoiled us with tons of 5-set battles, lately those matches have become much rarer. The closest we got to a tiebreak was Jaszewski vs Gdansk. The visitors couldn't hold on to their early lead in the fourth set and failed to complete their comeback attempt. Olsztyn continued to surprise this season. This time, Resovia were the victims, and all they managed to take away from the road was a single set. A surprise 4-set away win over Zaksa was pulled off by Helm. All the hosts could manage was a heroic win in the first set, where they saved 3 straight set points. You can see all the results from last week's matches on your screens, along with the standings topped by Project Warsaw. But take a look at how tight it is at the top, just 4 points separate first place from 7th. Meanwhile in Japan, the Emperor's Cup has wrapped up. The defending champions, Sunbirds, were knocked out in the previous round, while Bluteon skipped the tournament due to their participation in the Club World Championship. The champion slayers, Voreas, kept surprising everyone. In the semifinals, even after going down 0-2 in sets, they found the strength for a comeback and knocked Bartosz Kurek and his Great Bears out of the final race. In the other semifinal, Wolfdogs beat the Stings. Kento Miyaura first took care of his former team and then stopped the Voreas fairy tale in the final, becoming the tournament MVP. Finally, let's take a look at Turkey, where Bursa are joining the chase for the long-awaited top 4, a goal also shared by Fenerbahce. But without Ngapet, the Istanbul club had nothing to answer to Petar Derlic and company at home. Galatasaray added even more intrigue to the battle by beating Istanbul in 5 sets on their home court, tightening the top of the standings even further. You can see the results of all completed Turkish League matches on your screens. Only one match remains before the end of the first round, and this is how the standings look right now, with Ziraat still sitting at the top. That wraps up another edition of Volleyball News. I really hope you enjoyed it and will support it with a like and a subscription so you don't miss future episodes. And as always, this was Nick with you. Love what you do and you will succeed. See you soon. Bye!